Blog Talk Radio.
Yo, what's good, people? This is another episode of What's the Word with LJ Mental Podcast, and I'm your host, LJ, and let's get up into it. What up? We here another week, still up in this quarantine, starting to try to get back to whatever normal is. Yeah, we back in here another week here, and I just want to start off by saying thank you for joining me again for another week, another episode. And let's get right to it. I want to start off by talking about, I know the big thing that's been going on that people have been addressing is New Orleans Saints quarterback Drew Brees and his comments about he could never respect anyone that doesn't stand for the flag, and he addressed his grandfather and people that served in the army. And it's just cluelessness. I mean, at this point, you literally have to be living under a rock. Even if you go out of your way as a white person or anybody that's not black to try and understand what's been going on for many, many years as far as police brutality and systemic racism, you literally have to be living under a rock at this point. No matter what your lifestyle is, you have to understand that. And it was just a coolest comment on Drew Brees' part. And I don't even think Drew Brees is a racist individual. And you look at the man's resume and track record, not only is he one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, has almost all the passing records, but even off the field, this man has donated many millions of dollars to the city of New Orleans. And he came to the city of New Orleans, though, right after Katrina hit. And he has been a model, more than a model citizen, helping many people out in New Orleans. He just recently even donated $5 million to people for COVID-19. So Drew Brees has done a lot for that community in New Orleans. And obviously, I don't think any of his teammates have ever had anything to say about him. You hear about when some players, whether it's a wide receiver or whatever, they go to different teams. And sometimes they'll say, oh, they weren't a good teammate, but you never hear that about Drew Brees. So I'm sure people were shocked to hear this, surprised that, because he actually said this 4 years ago when Colin Kaepernick first started kneeling, but nobody said a word, which is really interesting because this is not the first time Drew Brees actually said this. So why the uproar now? People heard him say this 4 years ago, so that's what I'm confused about. People are still rocking with Drew Brees. Still, now you got people burning his jersey, which I will never understand why people do that. But, yeah, people are still rocking with Drew Brees, so why the uproar now? And like I said, I think it was the coolest comment, whether he believes and it's just privilege. He obviously, let's just call it for what it is. He's a rich, powerful individual in New Orleans, and he's a white privileged male. So to act like your grandfather, white Americans, the only ones that serve in the army, is just not right. When he comes back home and gets the praise, like a lot of black people did not get that same treatment when they came back home. So I believe he truly does understand that after listening to conversations that people had. And I heard he spoke to Shannon Sharp, former Pro Football Hall of Famer and co-host of Fox Sports 1's Skip and Shannon Undisputed. Just from hearing what Shannon Sharp was saying over his conversation, it seems like Drew Brees really does want to make right, but he does, like I agree, he needs to stop apologizing and show how he started through actions and deeds. And I really believe Drew Brees will do that. I don't think he's a racist. I don't know that to be true for sure, but I really don't believe he is. And also, really quick, I'm going to keep with my theme here, top 10 this week. I'm going to get into that really quick. But I just want to address some other things really quick as far as people that complain about because you don't like somebody and they do something good, you're still complaining about it. I will never understand that. The reason why I'm bringing that up is to say what Floyd Mayweather and Kanye West have done for George Floyd and his family. Floyd Mayweather, if you don't know, he has paid for the funeral of George Floyd. Whether you like Floyd Mayweather a lot, I know he has a history of putting his hands on women, which I will never agree with. And also, he said some pretty crazy things. You can't knock what he did there. He's actually doing something. And it's because, and you can do a little something. If you're not doing anything, like, what can you need to shut the hell up. Seriously. Like, if you're not doing anything out here, like, you don't have a right to say anything about what Floyd Mayweather is doing, or Kanye West, who actually donated $2 million to George Floyd's daughter, so she can pay for her college. So they're actually putting their money where their mouth is. They're actually taking action, which I know a lot of people are, but some people just love to complain, and I will never understand. Some people just love to complain, and whether you like those individuals or not, Kanye West or Floyd Mayweather, you can't knock what they did. That's very noble what they did. And unlike someone like Tiger Woods, who commented also this week on Twitter saying, "Oh, I feel for George Floyd's family, but I've always respected police." Okay. That statement alone is very contradictory, because you feel for George Floyd, but you always it's no problem to respect police officers. But that is very unnecessary. He should have just not said anything. Like, it's another culturally coolest person is Tiger Woods to me. And he's always denied his black side. He even went on Oprah and said he presents when people call him black. So, I've never really rocked with Tiger Woods for that. He's a great golfer, obviously. But on this subject, I would prefer he not say anything, because if you're not going to be a solution, then you're part of the problem. So you need to just sit this one out, Tiger, if you're not going to help. So, or maybe he's doing some stuff behind the scenes. There's no need for that. Because it's no problem to respect, because, despite everything going on, and we have, as black people, experienced a lot of police brutality over the years, but police officer is an honorable profession, because you are putting your life on the line. But we're not talking about the crooked police officers. We haven't held them accountable enough, and we're starting to do that more now, and I love it. All right, so keeping with the theme this month, I'm going to go into my top 10 this week, is because my theme this month is top 10 lists. And this week I am having top 10 outspoken athletes who have made changed history. So let's get into it. So my number one is Muhammad Ali, Tommy Smith, and John Carlos. And I'll get into why I combined them two together in a little bit. 3, Jackie Robinson. 4, Jim Brown. 5, Jesse Owens. 6, Colin Kaepernick. 7, Wilma Rudolph. 8, Hank Aaron. 9, Gabby Douglas. And 10, LeBron James. So, yes, all of these individuals are black athletes who have done some tremendous things in their profession and outside of their profession. So, let's start with number 1, Muhammad Ali. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Muhammad Ali, known as the greatest boxer of all time, even still to this day, and the struggles he went through, He was around that time during the 60s, the civil rights movement. And some of that had not changed to this day. But Muhammad Ali, when he had to go through, they tried to force him to go fight in a war, and he basically flat out said, "No, the people didn't do nothing to me. You like the white people have been a problem. They're the ones calling me the N word. The main people ain't do nothing to me. I'm not going to fight them." And this caused an uproar. He got stripped of his title. He got many death threats. This man literally could have died for standing up for what he believed in. And it's honorable. It's one of the most honorable things in history, and he changed history, obviously. I might get into a little bit a different discussion on a different topic, but let me just go down the list a little bit. So Tommy Smith and John Carlos. So the reason why I combined them is, if you don't know, they were in the 1968 Olympic Games in Mexico, and their most famous pose, the Black Power Salute, in 1968 Olympics. Tommy Smith initially boycotted the Olympics because they put bans on certain black countries, and he didn't stand for it. So he eventually decided to go, and he wanted to make a statement along with John Carlos. So Tommy Smith actually broke the record for the 200 meters, and as he was getting his medals, and also another white ally we had there, Peter Norman, and so the two black men, had the Black Power Salute, and Peter Norman actually wore the Human Rights Medal. So he was actually really for helping us, and they spoke about that at a documentary they had about this. So Jackie Robinson, number 3, I had on my list. Obviously, he changed history for being one of the first black players in Major League Baseball with the Brooklyn Dodgers, and one of the greatest players ever. Before him, even after that point, there was a lot of segregation, but he changed history. And after him, there were more diverse rosters in the Major League Baseball. He changed this. Jim Brown. Even to this day, I know some people may not like Jim Brown now, especially because he sided against Colin Kaepernick and met with Donald Trump. But back in his day when he was a player, and even a little bit after he was a player, he did a lot for black communities, and donated to a lot of to help black economic empowerment and help people get jobs. So Jim Brown did do a lot at his time. It's just, I don't know why he turned in different opinion now. I'm not sure. But Jesse Owens, next person on this list, track star during the 1930s, who won the track, the Olympics in 1930s when in something that hit the Olympics, and there was a lot of scrutiny, a lot of outrage when Jesse Owens won the Olympics. So he changed history there. William Rudolph, a female black track star who was inspired actually by Jesse Owens, the first woman, actually the first woman to win Olympics. 7, Colin Kaepernick. Obviously, Colin Kaepernick has changed his career, sacrificed his career basically. Hopefully he does get it back soon, but basically sacrificed his career for standing up for black people, people of color, for police brutality. Hank Aaron, MLB star who was somebody after Jackie Robinson, who broke Babe Ruth's record of most home runs. And so he changed history being a major player in Major League Baseball. Gabby Douglas, she's more recent. She won the all-around gymnastics Olympics in 2012. The first black girl. She was only 16 years old. The first black woman to win that. Number 10, LeBron James has started his own school. Obviously, one of the greatest players ever. So that's my list there. Might get into a deeper discussion later on. This is What's the Word, LJ Mentor Podcast. I'm out.